Hey guys, so this week we are talking about buoyancy. So we're taking a little bit of a break from the stuff that we've been talking about before with climate change. And this week we're going to start talking about how things float and why things float. Okay, so what is buoyancy? Buoyancy is the ability for something to float. And if I describe something as buoyant, I'm saying that it is able to float. Okay, so we can see over here, we can see that this has a large buoyant force which allows it to float. This one has a small one, so it's sinking. So we know which things float. There's things like plastic bottles and stuff like this. This is a camera that was made to go underwater to start looking at deeper ocean kind of things. So what are some things that are buoyant? We obviously know that ships are buoyant, right? Ships float. Things like kickboards, things that we use in the swimming pool, all of those things are buoyant. And then obviously like rubber duckies, anything that floats is buoyant. So on your paper, on your interactive notebook, you guys are going to describe one other thing that is buoyant, one other thing that can float. Okay? So then what is something that is not buoyant? Well, quarters. Most coins will sink. Rocks, right? You throw a rock in the water, it's going to sink. Metal spoons, metal forks, things like that, those are heavy. Those are going to sink. So go ahead and describe in your interactive notebook what is something that is not buoyant. What is something that will not float? Okay. So we talked about a lot before about density and mass, weight, and stuff like that. So we're just going to do a quick refresher because you guys should have some background knowledge about this stuff. So what is density? Density is the amount of mass or the amount of weight in a volume. So in the space that it takes up. So the amount of weight in the space that an object takes up. Right? So box number 1, this one right here, has a small mass. It has a small weight. So these little things in here are all the mass. So it has a small amount of weight in it. Okay? But it takes up the same amount of space as box number 2, which is this one right here. Box number 2 has a large mass. It has a large weight in the space that it takes up, so in its volume. Okay, and like I said before, both boxes are taking up the same volume or space. Okay. So if you had to describe which of these would you think would be more dense? Which of these has more weight in the similar amount of volume? Okay, so we have two balls here. We have a bowling ball. We have a basketball. Okay, our bowling ball is filled with a bunch of weight, right? They're heavy. Our basketball, on the other hand, is filled with air, so it does not have a lot of weight, right? So the bowling ball is more dense because it has more weight in the same amount of area, okay? Excuse me. Which one do you think would be more buoyant? Do you think a bowling ball would be more buoyant, or do you think a basketball would be more buoyant? If you said the basketball, you are correct. The basketball is more buoyant because it is less dense. Okay, it is more buoyant, so it floats. It floats easier because it is less dense. It has less weight in that volume. Okay. All right, so you guys can go ahead and watch this video. I did put the link for you here, just in case you guys were struggling getting those. But you can also just click this play button right here. You guys do need to answer the questions about this video, and then we'll talk to you soon.